couple of things at the top here. As you've no doubt heard, last night, U.S. Special Operations Forces, under the control of U.S. Central Command, conducted a counterterrorism mission in northwest Syria that resulted in the death of ISIS leader Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurayshi, also known as Haji Abdullah. Haji Abdullah was a very hands-on leader and involved in many day-to-day operations of ISIS, and certainly keenly interested in restoring the lethality and the higher op tempo that ISIS had once enjoyed. So his death, we believe, dealt a significant blow to ISIS. You've already heard from the President this morning, and I think you've probably seen a statement that Secretary Austin put out joining the President in commending the professionalism and the skill, the readiness exhibited by our forces in this operation, particularly with the extensive regard towards safeguarding innocent life that we knew was located there at the target's location. And while the cowardly actions of Haji Abdullah and a small number of his followers resulted in the tragic death of at least 3 innocent civilians, the calculated efforts of our forces succeeded in protecting more than 10 women, children, and babies. These efforts included a deliberate decision by the President to execute a raid on the location as opposed to an airstrike, despite the additional risk that that decision put on our forces. And as I think you've probably seen, in addition to all that, as they got to the site, they called out to everyone in the building, giving them an opportunity to leave peacefully, quietly, and for Abdullah to surrender himself. Of course, he chose a different route. While there were no U.S. casualties, one of our helicopters did suffer a mechanical failure early on in the infiltration phase of the operation. The helicopter was able to depart the target location and land at another location further away, off-site. But ultimately, it was determined that further use of the helicopter was not practical and, in fact, could be dangerous. And so General McKenzie made the decision that the helicopter should be abandoned and detonated so it could be destroyed in place. So moving forward, I'm sure you've got lots of questions. I'll do the best I can to answer them. I want to remind that this is an operation that is not yet 24 hours old. So while we will provide as much context as we can to you, I suspect, as you all have covered these kinds of things before, that we will continue to learn more information as time goes on. We are still reviewing the results of this operation. We are still going through the after-action process that we always do. We'll do the best we can to provide you as much context. I also would add, and I'm saying this as a bit of a disclaimer here before we begin taking questions, that there are still operational security matters that we're just not going to be able to speak to. We obviously take these kinds of missions very seriously. We obviously want to be able to continue to conduct these kinds of operations because ISIS remains a threat. So there's going to be some information that you will want to know that we are simply not going to be able to provide so that we can preserve our flexibility to conduct these sorts of operations going forward. With that, Bob.